Today on our test engine we have a set of carburetors that were sent back to us with the complaint that they were over fueling. And what this means is that they were dripping fuel down through this part, which is the auxiliary booster, when the engine was idling. Now, this can be caused by a number of things, but most usually it's a high float level is what causes that. So when I pulled the carburetors apart, the problem with this is 3 out of 4 of the needle and seats failed on a vacuum test. Now, this is because the carburetors were so full of debris from the fuel system that it was making it through the filter mesh, and I found it lodged in the needles and seats as well as all throughout the carburetors. So on this one I had to go back, pull out the main jets, pull out the needles and seats, remove the floats from both carburetors and clean everything out again. So now we've got it all clean. We're back on our test engine again, and I want to show you that right now we have 2.5 pounds of fuel pressure. We can see our float heights. I have the float gauge in. Is that working with the camera? And we have a float height right here, and a float height right here, right at the top of the line where they should be. And if we look down through the top, we have no dripping. Now I'm going to rerun that test again on the other carburetor, and then we're going to run these on our test stand again, retune them, refill them down here to make sure they're not leaking and there's no other issues with these carburetors. So here we are on the right side of the engine. We have 2.5 psi fuel pressure, and we have our float height set with our gauges on. Everything looks exactly where it should be. Watch your arm and your cables, you're about to be in the fan. So we've got the engine up and running, it's idling nice. We've looked down every single barrel, no fuel leakage, engine revs nicely, comes back to an idle. Had to do a quick mixture adjustment, which is not uncommon, because with fuel flooding, the first thing that most people will do is go to fuel mixtures thinking that it's a mixture adjustment. So on the left carburetor, I had all fuel mixtures were really lean on that side, hence the popping. But now everything is working fine. We got a clean fuel system. We're good for leaks. Everything looks good there. And we're ready to pull them off, drain them, send them back to the owner. So this is an example of no matter how good a job that anyone does on a set of carburetors, if the fuel system isn't clean and have fresh fuel in it, and fresh fuel means you go to the gas station and you buy fresh fuel the day you put the carburetors on. If it's been sitting around for a long period of time, that fuel is going to be stale, it's going to be breaking down, it's not going to have the same octane that it was when you originally bought it, and it's going to create a lot of problems. Now, we run all of our carburetors to eliminate issues of floats being the wrong height or needles sinking or fuel spilling over. So we know when a set of carburetors leaves here that they are 100% correct. Now, once you get your carburetors on your engine, there are some things that you need to look at. The fuel line fittings right here, these are a common source of leakage. And because they are a fibrous type gasket, these gaskets really need to soak up some moisture, and this needs to be retensioned. I'll retension these probably 4 times while they're on our test stand, because when this gasket is dry, it will tend to want to seep. And then when I retension it by the 3rd time, it will generally seal up. During service, this is an area that you need to look at and pay attention to. Another common leak area is our bowl plug area. We've taken to using a Viton O-ring here, as the 7mm fiber gaskets that we get in the kits tend not to seal very well, and nor do the copper washers tend to seal very well. This is not a very strong banjo bolt. It's made out of brass, it's hollow, has a hole drilled into it, so you can't crank down on it very much. This is an area here that you need to pay attention when the car's up and running. So making the best out of a repair is making sure that the system that the carburetors go onto is 100%.